Good morning and welcome to the social listening segment here on the BDTv Breakfast Show, where we break down stories that are trending online. I am Nneoma Ogbonna, and today I'm joined by the delectable Valentine Onyeka. Good morning, Mr. Val,
Hi,
and how are
Norma.
you
When you say
doing?
delectable, it makes people think there's some ice cream somewhere.
Oh, Mr. Val, but you know that you're a very nice person, so I think that's even
Well,
just downgrading, Delectable
well,
is not the word that covers your entire personality.
well, we claim it. Let's go.
Okay, let's just get straight to the point. This morning we have a lot of stories trending online. However, we're just going to be focusing on two. And the first one we're going to be looking at is that President Bola Tinubu has recently been on a state visit to Brazil, where he met with the president of Brazil. At the meeting, both countries signed new bilateral agreements aimed at boosting trade, manufacturing, and food security. And during these talks, it was at the time that Tinubu boldly declared that there is no more corruption in Nigeria since he took over office. He pointed to reforms at the central bank as proof of transparency, saying businesses can now access foreign exchange without needing to know anyone. But before we go right into, getting your opinion on this, Mr. Val, I think that we should see some tweets. Let's see people's reaction online. Okay, the first one we are seeing is from Ola Silva, also appearing as Just Imagine. We can attest to that, if not totally corrupt free, but at least 75%, because I believed if we were still as corrupt as we were before his administration, this tweet is quite unclear, but I think we can see some of the okay. The next tweet says, this present government will be awarded most corrupt in Nigerian history. For Olufash, he says the president should know that lying is corruption. Are you, Mr. Olu, are you calling our president a liar? Enough of telling lies. People are hungry. Insecurity is the order of the day. Let's see another tweet, then we can get back into the conversation. For the one AICMC, he says, when the aged lies effortlessly in the public, what shall we say to the younger ones who are no more willing to be truthful? This is not just a disgrace for such aged fellow to be a public figure, but an international embarrassment to the people.
So, I
Mr.
mean,
Val.
it's important to say this first and foremost. So, social media users should mind kind of words that they use. I
Exactly.
mean, we don't condone the, put this way, put an unquote, the well, someone say unprofessional, but social media itself is not even that professional to say. So I'm sure if he's seen those tweets, if his aide is seen those tweets or whoever it is that goes through social media handles, will not take it seriously at all because we don't see it as a viable means of statement being released. However, let's leave the comment that we've seen. Let's jump into what he said. Now, as journalists as we are, and people who stay on the fence with this kind of thing happens, or when words are cut across, what should come to mind should be, let us look at it in the interest of him sitting on the seat as the commander-in-chief. Leave every other thing aside, as commander-in-chief. What are the communiques coming to his table? Remember, as the president of a nation as big as Nigeria, over 200 million people, it would be unfair for you to expect him to micromanage. Okay? At that level, he's dealing with some international concerns that will grow the image of Nigeria. Take that just to the next level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have people on social media who don't see other areas of governance that plays a major role. So, in his capacity, when he says, look, that corruption has seen RIP, in other words, has now, you can confidently say corruption right now is going to rest in peace. For him to have said so simply means that reports coming to him based on corrupt practices, based on institutions that some certain people are holding, right? They have to do with monies moving back and forth and not well accounted for. All those areas have been blocked. So you see, it would be unfair to just say, let's take out what he has said out of context. and jump on it. No, look at what the indices say.
But Mr. Val, you also know that as journalists, we are the voice of the people. And
Which is why-
if the people are saying that, look, I don't think that what he's saying is true, we should also weigh in on that as well.
That is why we will do what we call tete-a-tete. You do here, you do here. So let us look at it from the angle first. Let's look at the angle of from the government first. Before we can come to those who are the masses. 3 tweets, or rather 3 messages, whatever you call it on social media, cannot account for the 200 million people. Not at all. So you see, so we have to play such a way that you can strike a chord at the middle. Having said so, right, let me first exhaust from his own angle. What is coming to his team? His media aid. Where I want to fault them will be, he has said this. Can we back it up with data?
Okay.
Do you understand? We have, look, the institution is well designed to have data well listed out that can back up this claim. So if he says, look, under his watch, corruption has now ended, let's back it up with data. That's what I'm going to fault them to say, okay, you said this, right? Now, can we get data to follow through? If there are no data in the next 2 or 3, 4, 5 days, we'll just know, what mercy, and so it wouldn't hold water. On the other hand, those who are obvious Nigerians, common Nigerians who we represent, right? We've seen only 3 people who have commented. What if 100 million other persons have commented, and those ones are saying, oh, good enough, good to go? Now, I'm not taking the stance for the government. Neither am I saying, oh, what people have said is correct. But we are saying, whichever it is, can we market Nigeria properly in the eyes of the world? We've just seen our president, right? He went and then he was able to broker a deal where we can get direct flight to Brazil and Brazil to Nigeria. That's something to be happy for. Round of applause to that. We've also seen other areas where he's doing well. Whether or not he's doing the best he can, again, he cannot micromanage. So if one have said, under my watch, corruption is about to see the last of it. No more corruption per se. It boils down to what is coming to his table. Now, I expect his media aid, or I expect those who are advising that angle to now say, these are the data. Oga has said this. Quickly bring out data to back it up. If you don't back it up in 48 hours, 72 hours, then the words of those and the voice of those on social media will begin to what? Sound as if it's true. Like they say, if a lie lasts for too long, becomes there's an element of truth that will begin to surface itself. So, having said so, let's not be quick to judge. Again, this is also a big hand that he has extended to EFCC. Believe it or not, we're not seeing the opportunity there. It is you saying EFCC, which means you've done a good job, because your job to chase those who have stolen money. You know, ICPC will have all those other persons. SERAP, they're all there. So the question now would be, you guys have heard what Mr. President has said. How would you come out and back it up with your own data?
But Mr. Val, I want to get to the tweets back again. Like, why do you think that Nigerians are, coming out to say the opposite of what Mr. President has portrayed?
Great. Again, you said, why do I think Nigerians? We have only 3 messages to say.
This is part of the.
Let's say, let's assume.
Yes.
Alleged that all Nigerians are still saying no. Some people are still corrupt. Again, I'll fall back to what I said. You don't expect Mr. President to come and stand at the middle of the road and checkmate some other bad eggs, as in bad eggs based on those security personnel who are bad eggs. There are some bad eggs, obviously, right? Who the force are trying to push out, those corrupt police officers. You don't expect to come and stand in the middle of the road and come and checkmate them. Why are you collecting so money? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Do you understand what I mean now? Yeah. So Nigerians will, where I'm heading to with this is that Nigerians will complain because they are the ones on the road, seeing, they're the one in buses, seeing those bad eggs, right, in the midst of, well-fortified and well-designed Nigerian police system that works very well. You have some bad eggs collecting money on the road, and the police force is trying so hard to remove those bad eggs. So the question now would be, Nigerians are still saying these things, right? They say, look, bail is free. Nigerians know if you go there and if you're arrested, you're taken there one way or the other, right? You might part some money, as the case may be. So it cuts across board. What about those in the corporate sector? What about those in the health sector? You go to a government hospital, right? We know for what it's worth, give and take. They will delay you for a while. But if you begin to say, I want to patch some certain small change in my pocket, things will move faster. Yeah. So it's like that across board. Even abroad, it's like that. But do you expect the CNC the commander-in-chief should now say, well, corruption is still a problem in this country. No, he won't cry like that.
Well, I get your point. I get your point.
Exactly.
What he did was to sell us well in front of other people. Well, I do understand his own angle, and I also bear with fellow Nigerians from their own angle. But we cannot continue dwelling on that story because our time is very short. So we're moving to our next story, which is that the Academic Staff Union of Universities, also known as ASUU, is once again threatening to shut down schools nationwide with what it calls the mother of all strikes. ASUU says the government has failed to meet demands dating back to 2009, from proper funding of universities to payment of wage arrears and improved facilities. And at the same time, ASUU's Unilag chapter has rejected the federal government's proposed loan scheme for lecturers, calling it a Greek gift. They argue that if lecturers were properly paid, there will be no need to chase loans. Similar protests have already rocked Plateau State University, with members demanding that the government simply fulfill its promises instead of offering loans. And before we get to our discussion, Mr. Val, let's see some tweets again. I know that you say 3 tweets are not enough to represent everyone, but let's just go to some of the tweets and see what people are saying on X. Okay, so New Ben 82 says ASUU have reduced unionism to a joke and mockery of itself. One wonders if this is the same ASUU that stood up against military regimes. The ASUU that dared IBB under Atirahu Jega, the ASUU that will threaten strike and shut down the system and sustain it until they achieve laudable goals like the TET fund lecturers and higher institutions enjoy today. That's quite a lot. Let's see the next tweet. Tony Bruce says, stop threatening and get to action. You guys just love threatening fire and brimstone, only to go and collect brown envelopes in the villa. Tony, who is telling you this? Who are your sources? Let's see the next tweet. And Sadiq says, ASUU announcing a mother of all strikes every few years is like a movie franchise that just won't end. Sadly, the students are always the ones paying the ticket price. I really agree with Sadiq on this one. Let's see the last tweet. And Niger PR says, when we will finally be free of ASUU strikes? This question, I have been, even when I was in school, I was asking it. Mr. Val, what do you think, please?
See, again, let's look at it from the angle of the media. That's we in the media. When you hear stories like this, to us, it is good news. I know it must sound very controversial, right? I'll tell you why it's good news. It's good news because to us, we have something to talk about to keep the federal government in check. Also, something to talk about to keep us itself in check. There was a particular contributor there that said, what are they talking about? Later they'll go behind and collect brown envelopes. It's not wrong. Let's call it spade a spade. Let's address the elephant in the room. Are you aware that even if you're being owed money, right, and they've not paid you, of course you're working, meaning to say that there is more backlogs coming through. And so how come is it that when federal government pays the one they are owing, right, these people still come back and say you're still owing money? Which means that when you go there, you will settle for half the money that they're owing you. Isn't it so? And so,
actually makes sense.
Exactly. So if you settle for that half, which means someone has convinced you to take that half. And so you take that half to go and pay your people that has been owed, the people that need this money. Isn't it so? So the question now is, why did you accept that half? On what condition? So we don't know what's playing behind there. We're tired of we always, saying, okay, ASUU is going on strike, so we'll start shaking. It so happens to be that whenever ASUU, right, sneezes, everybody catches a cold. Because you have students, people's children who are in university, they come back home. After a while, they will forget the courses that they have been studying.
I would not actually, be speaking from a hypothetical point, because I also was part of those who experienced
out of experience. When I was studying during my undergraduate days, my first degree, right, a 4-year course, we spent 6 years in university. I did theater at first. If I went and did mass communication somewhere else and got a master's, ASUU gave everybody these problems. I can tell you for a fact. But it was in the interest of the students, interest of the teachers, interest of the lecturers. I get it. So I'm not saying that what they're doing, or rather preparing everybody for a mother of all strikes, is bad. No, but I'm saying if this is going to be the mother of all strikes, then let it be the mother of all strikes, so that we will stop hearing this issue of, oh, they're owing money, they don't want to pay money, blah, blah, blah. Let them get it right. Because for what it's worth, if we keep having lapses in our educational system, it will affect the kind of people that will come out of the universities. At the end of the day, you have half-baked what? Students, or half-baked graduates. What does this mean? It means that they'll all be, integrated into institutions, society, integrated into industries, and we will see lapses. I'm very passionate about this, because I can tell you, if it hasn't affected you, right, you wouldn't know. But when it affects you, you can be able to now say, wait a minute, bring my experience to the table. So I haven't said this. More of us strikes, they are actually well off in their right to go on strike so that monies can be paid. But we don't want to hear a case where they will now say, well, we've made amends, we've come to a conclusion, we've had a roundtable meeting with the government, and so, for what it's worth, we are willing to go back to class.
But do you think that...
Hold on. Go back to class. On what terms? Has the full money been paid to the last penny or last couple? So we will not hear strikes again. This is what we want to hear. And so it is more important. In fact, this story is more important to me than the first story. Why? Because the lives of people, businesses... Look, we're a business television, right?
Yes.
The amount of businesses that surround the university environment is huge. A lot of money is being generated. In every school, they have shopping complex and all that stuff. So there are businesses around there. Those businesses will shut down. Meaning to say, growth based on income of funds will be reduced. Families will be affected. It doesn't end there. What about transportation system? I'm seeing from the business angle as a business person thinking, wait a minute, do we even send, if they go on strike right now, we even send a reporter there to say, go and find out what business is now like there in those universities. Yes. Are people still making money? Of course, the money that will come in will be less than the amount of money that it could have been if they were in session. So give and take. If this is going to be the mother of all strikes, let it be the mother of all strikes, so that we will all come and say, fine, they've been settled, everybody go back to class, school continues, and your 4 years, not 6 years.
I just really hope that this time that the government would pay whatever it is that they are owing ASUU, so that students can stop being the ones, because when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers it. And the students are the ones that are paying at the end of the day. Their parents, yes, but the students are the ones, because they miss out on a whole lot from when it comes to like education. Some people can't even compete with their peers internationally because of those gaps.
Let me even shock you. Now, because of the consistent back and forth, ASUU strike today, ASUU this one, that, whatever it is around the educational system, the educational system now, when you present your document and probably want to go for a different higher course, maybe a PhD or something, right? I tell you, questions will be asked, and then they'll tell you, you need to go give us maybe English proficiency or something like that. You wonder, this is an English-speaking country. Why are you asking me to go get you
another English proficiency?
So these are the things that they see. Social media is not just social media for Nigeria. Globally, people see what's going on. And so those key universities, if, for instance, you want to go do your PhD, because I want to go for my PhD sometime or the other in the future, and they will ask you those things. We need you to give us this or give us that, as the case may be. Why are they doing all that? Because they are seeing the lapses in your educational system. And they're wondering, if this is sustained like this, which means half-baked people will come out of this university. So when you approach them for this or that, for those who want to move further, guess what? They will ask you questions and say, from one university, from one institution, okay, this, that. Or Nigeria, there is a question mark. So is it marketing Nigeria well? No, it's not. But again, those who work hard should be paid well. To whom much is given, much is expected. So I think ASUU is well off on their right to go on one of our strikes, but let it be the one of our strikes and not give birth to grandchildren of strikes. You know what I mean?
Okay. Our listeners, over to you. Just drop your comments. Let us see what you think about this particular story and the former one that we've just discussed. But that's it here on Social Listening today. We just touched on Tinubu's corruption claims and ASUU's threats to the government. I am Nneoma Ogbonna, and with me was
Onyeka Valentine.
Thank you so much for watching BDTv, and please join us same time tomorrow. We'll be right here waiting for you.